So we have a shutdown deal in the works. Now, it's not a done deal, but I'll get you all caught up on where we're at with that. It's the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. And the rumor mill came to a roar yesterday, and we actually had to break in last night to WBAP regular programming for special programming. And you know it was special because it was hosted by me, so that helps a lot. But there seems to be a compromise, and not a whole lot has been accomplished, just words. And, they're putting pen to paper right now. The cloture vote that happened last night doesn't mean anything's passed yet. It just means debate ends. We still have to have the Senate vote and pass on all three bills. And then after that happens, Mike Johnson said he's going to call the House back into session. He'll give them 36 hours. What's going on? Why not call him back now if this is a done deal? So there's still some weirdness going on. Let me run it all by you, and then you can tell me what you think here. So in the shutdown deal, this was Mike Johnson earlier today saying, well, we've reached a deal.
Now finally appear ready to do what Republicans and President Trump and millions of hardworking American people have been asking them to do for weeks. But as we said from the beginning, the people's government cannot be held hostage to further anyone's political agenda. That was never right. And shutting down the government never produces anything. It never has, if you study history. And so here we are.
All right. So, yeah, here we are. We all agree. Shutdown's not good. Let's come up with the deal. Let's get together. Let's make this happen. Now, here's where the timetable starts to get long. Because when you see the headlines from last night, in fact, when I was goofing around on social media last night, they were acting like, well, shutdown's over. Well, no, the shutdown's not over. We have a verbal agreement on the deal. We have the cloture vote passed. We still have to have the Senate pass all three bills. And then this is where Mike Johnson said 36 hours. He's going to call the House to session 36 hours after the Senate version passes.
At the very moment that they do that final vote, I will call all House members to return to Washington as quickly as possible. We'll give a 36-hour formal and official notice so that we can vote as soon as possible to pass the amended CR bill and get it to the president's desk. As you all know, and he said as recently as last night, I was with him, and he told the press, he said, we want to get the government open. He's very anxious to get the government reopened and to end the Schumer shutdown. We all are.
So this is kind of being slow rolled. Mike Johnson, you should have called him and given him 36 hours last night, because everyone's making it sound like a done deal. Do you have the votes? Well, you just had the votes in cloture, so now all you got to do is have 51 votes or 50 and one abstention to get anything passed. So there's nothing stopping you now. What's the holdup? So they're actually don't seem to be in very much of a hurry here. Now, the most important soundbite I'm going to play for you today comes from a week ago. Ted Cruz was on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo. Ted Cruz also made a similar prediction with Larry Kudlow from Fox Business, saying this shutdown's about to end because this is all about the election. And you'll know it's all about the election because there's not going to be any big compromises made. The Democrats are going to cave on everything just so they can end this. And what this kind of proves is this theory that Ted Cruz threw out last weekend is bearing out to be true. His prediction timetable is bearing out to be correct, and the terms of the deal are turning out to be correct.
Will the government open this upcoming week? This is getting seriously impacting the U.S. economy. What's your take?
I think it's likely to open Wednesday or Thursday of this week. The Democrats will wait until after Election Day because they think a shutdown is good for energizing the crazies in their party. But I think it'll be either late this week or early next week.
Are you going to have to give on the Obamacare subsidies?
No, the Democrats will collapse entirely.
Okay.
All right. Round of applause. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? And this is one of the great litmus tests that I wish more people would do. This is what Rush Limbaugh taught you, the drive-by media. They're just going to run out, they're going to say a whole bunch of things, and you never circle back and revisit it. And he did. So I just circled back and revisited that. I didn't do a drive-by media of that. He made a prediction, and we held him to account. Turns out he was right. One of the most optimistic parts of the weekend where I knew the government shutdown was going to happen pretty soon is because MSNBC said the opposite. This is Ryan Nobles, a guest on MSNBC on their Meet the Press Roundtable, saying, oh, no, you can expect past Thanksgiving.
Do you think they're going to get a deal?
No.
I didn't feel that much optimism.
And it's not just what they told you, it's also what I'm hearing from people that I talked to about this issue. They seem pretty entrenched in their original positions. And if you actually go back to the things they were saying prior to the shutdown beginning and comparing them to what they're saying now, they really haven't moved all that much. You know, Senator Schumer this week presenting this proposal about a one-year extension, that really fell with a lead balloon in the White House. Democrats feel emboldened. Their base is telling them to continue to fight. Republicans feel no incentive to give on this at all. That's the recipe for this continuing on. And Kristen, I don't want to say this, but I really believe this could extend all the way to Thanksgiving, if not beyond, because there just seems to be no break in this fever.
So there it is. One side tells you that the shutdown is going to be done by the end of the week, maybe beginning of next week, and comes out just right on time. Next guy, the other side of the aisle, looking at the exact same information. Actually, this was made more recently. So he should be a little more accurate in his prediction because he has a whole new week of information. And this was while the rumor mill was churning. He's like, nah, I expect this to go past Thanksgiving. But do y'all have to be wrong about everything? Do you have to be that wrong about everything? The other thing that the prediction here that we need to circle back for, drive-by media, the Rush Limbaugh trick, is we're doing this all without ending the filibuster. I think that's super important. I'm glad we didn't have to end the filibuster. I didn't like the idea of ending the filibuster. And Ted Cruz didn't like it either, senator from Texas. This was on the 7th. So what is that? Friday? Yeah, he was saying, that we're not going to end the filibuster. This was the Kudlow clip because we don't have the votes in the filibuster. And he turned out to be correct on that. Here we have the budget compromise. It's already past cloture, and they didn't have to use the nuclear option.
I'm sure you were at the Republican breakfast with President Trump. All right, he wants to end the filibuster. Okay, and he's, campaigning on it, talking about it, tweeting on it. He talked to you all at the breakfast meeting. What does Senator Ted Cruz think about this?
Look, the votes are not there to end the filibuster. It is not every president of our lifetime has wanted to end the filibuster, because if you want to move legislation through, the filibuster necessarily slows things down. I can tell you that when Joe Biden was in the White House and Democrats had the House and Senate, it is only the filibuster that stopped us from absolute devastation.
There you go. So there is revisiting the two most important points of what the shutdown compromise could look like. It's done without the filibuster, and it's done without any big changes to what the Republicans were pushing in the beginning. Now, a lot of Republicans are running out saying, well, this is a clear victory for us. A lot of Democrats are saying, well, this is a clear loss for us. Is it? Continuing the previous Democrat spending bill is a big loss for Democrats and a big gain for Republicans? I don't know. So I like the fact that they reached a compromise and this is going to be behind us soon. Not sure I necessarily like the results, but it is what it is, and I'll keep you updated as these votes come through and make it official. Coming up next, Connor Vassell from Young Voices is going to talk about what he sees. Say that again? Oh, it's Donald Kimball. I said the wrong guy? Okay, thank you, Garrett. Donald Kimball. Next, coming up on the James Show. To talk about the latest scuttlebutt in D.C., we have at least word of mouth compromise to end the federal government shutdown. So, and it hadn't happened yet, but it's in the works, and we'll find out where we're at with that and what the timetable looks like next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. All right, we have a shutdown compromise in the works. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. And the big vote, the cloture vote, happened yesterday. So the big 60-vote threshold that's been holding this whole thing up, that has been passed. And so now we are expecting the spending bill to be divvied up into three parts. Once all three of those parts are passing the Senate, which I don't think they have yet. What are they waiting on? I don't know. Then Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, says he'll call in the House of Representatives, give them 36 hours to come get their butts in their seats at the House of Representatives and vote on it then. So this could take, till Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe next week. And it seems kind of odd. At one point, it was the most important thing in the world, and we've got to get this thing reopened. And now we're here, and we're kind of slow rolling it. All right, so something weird's going on. Donald Kimball's my next guest. He's with the Young Voices. Welcome back, Donald Kimball. And in this shutdown compromise, hey, thank you, everybody. In this shutdown compromise that we hear, it seems that the Republicans got what they were asking for, and the Democrats just capitulated. And that almost makes me suspicious, Donald. Hey, I think that's one of the great lessons here. When you have the people who are concerned about, well, if we don't have the government running, it's going to cut off food aid to poor people, or it's going to cut off air traffic control to airports, or it's going to cut off name the XYZ program. And I thought that was a great case for privatization, not reopening the government. So who do you think really won in this? I thought the compromise was so bad. I thought it was so pro-Democrat that Democrats were crazy to fight it to begin with. But, they wanted government to be even bigger. And so now that the election is passed, they're like, nah, this will work. We're not going to fight you anymore. And that kind of betrays how bad the deal was, in my point of view. You mean a harder hit in the court of public opinion? Okay, so the other thing I like, and we're talking with Donald Kimball from Young Voices, if you're just joining us, we managed to get through this without getting rid of the filibuster, and I'm not sure if people understand how important of a dodge that is. Is there any chance this doesn't pass? We had the big procedural vote happen yesterday, but they seem to be slow rolling the actual bills themselves today. The House of Representatives doesn't seem to be too enthusiastic about getting into town. Is there any chance this falls apart? Oh, that's a good thing to bring up. I'm glad you brought that up. I've forgotten all about that. Donald Kimball from Young Voices. Find him online. Donald Kimball, I appreciate your time, sir. Coming up next on The James Show, some lessons from the great shutdown of 2025 in audio sound bites. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, we may have a shutdown agreement by the end of the week. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. And a lot of people are wondering, so what's the timetable here? When are the airlines going to be back to normal? When is my food stamp card going to be refilled? When is my federal government paycheck going to be restored? And if you're wondering about the details on that, my sad answer is, I don't know. I don't know when they're going to get all this done. It sounded like they were going to get it all done within a matter of like 24 to 48 hours last night. Hey, we've got the votes. Let's get together. We got the Senate together. It's on a Sunday night. We can work anytime we want. Meanwhile, the House is all spread all over the country and like, well, maybe in 3 days after y'all actually pass everything and the votes have already gone through, we can talk about doing a vote here. So on one hand, the Senate seems to be in a big hurry. House does not seem to be in a big hurry. But there's a lot of lessons to be learned here, and I hope they don't escape the public consciousness. For someone who listens to WBAP, I'm sure you get all these lessons here. In fact, you probably didn't need these lessons. But for a lot of people, the worries about SNAP, the worries about food stamps, we were being told that there's no way we could feed all the hungry people out there, all the needy people, without a federal government program, which is just silliness. Seeing as how we never had a federal government program like food stamps until what, LBJ? But yeah, here we are. What is this? 2 weeks into the food stamp cutoff almost, and it looks like private sectors did step up. It looks like churches and food banks did cover the need. But this is what you were told 2 days before the food stamps were cut off.
I am 34 years old, and I am the mother of two boys, 8 and 3.
For Simone Wilkes, the shutdown isn't about politics. It's about survival.
My stomach dropped because I'm already struggling. I'm already stretching food.
She's one of 42 million Americans who rely on SNAP, the federal program that helps families afford groceries. But with the government shutdown dragging into a 4th week, those benefits could be cut off as early as November 1st. Food banks across the country are already seeing longer lines and shorter supplies.
SNAP is a frontline program that really just cannot be replaced by charitable food assistance.
Disagree. We just saw you be wrong. This was from ABC News on October 30th. This was 2 days before the food stamp cutoff actually happened. And they were already chumming the water. There's no way we can survive without big government. They said, and I'm not being hyperbolic, they said at the very beginning, this is about survival. Oh, this is about survival, really?
I am 34 years old, and I am the mother of two boys, 8 and 3.
For Simone Wilkes, the shutdown isn't about politics. It's about survival.
You know what? How many people died? How many people died of starvation? 0? So no, this wasn't about survival. This was about hyperbolic, terrible journalism, all for a political cause, and I'm tired of seeing it. You guys are wrong about everything. Aren't you ever embarrassed about how wrong you are about all your predictions and your economic schools of thought? 800-288-9227. This is Bill and Garland. You're on WBAP.
Yeah, well, we've been put through hell for 40 days, and the Democrats have finally decided they're going to give up, and nothing is any different. These people are so pathetic. You know, we haven't had a budget in 30 years. They can't manage to pass 12 amendments to fund the government. This is a joke. These people are a joke.
So was there sarcasm at the very beginning there when you said we've been put through hell for the last 40 days? Or are you someone who actually was directly affected by the shutdown? Because most of us didn't.
I wasn't. I was.
Okay.
No, I was. But they put through a lot of poor people through this, and it's just ridiculous. These guys are a bunch of grifters, damn near every one of them, and I'm just sick of this just continuous volatility in the government. Let's just settle down and pass the damn bills.
Well, I don't want to just pass the damn bills if they continue the $1.8 trillion deficits. I don't want to just continue to pass the bills if it's not going to balance the budget or if it's going to continue driving the car toward this fiscal cliff that we're about to run off to. Yeah, I am more than willing to accept whatever chaos comes from us just slamming the brakes, being fiscally responsible, making the cuts, and then making the adjustments afterwards. And your original sentiment is so true. We've only passed 4 budgets on time in the last 40 years. 4, Bill. So you're absolutely right. Thank you very much for calling in, sir. I like that. All right. Coming up next on the James Show, my guest is going to be State Rep Brian Harrison. And we're going to have a serious talk here about Governor Abbott saying that he is going to run for another term as governor in the state of Texas. Just because he has an R next to his name doesn't mean I think this is the right choice. In fact, I'm against it. We'll see what Brian Harrison has to say next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
Fourth term.
We will protect what we built. We will finish what we started. We will lead Texas into its glorious future. And that's why tonight
Abbott has served as governor since 2015.
What do you think about Governor Abbott running for a fourth term? I'm James Parker. It's the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WAP. He made it official yesterday. This is the report from WFAA.
Governor Greg Abbott officially announces he is running for re-election for a fourth term.
We will protect what we built. We will finish what we started. We will lead Texas into its glorious future. And that's why tonight
Abbott has served as governor since 2015. If he is re-elected and serves the full term, he would become the longest-serving governor in Texas history. Currently, his predecessor, Rick Perry, holds that title.
All right. Enough of that. My next guest is going to have some strong opinions about this. The great state rep, Brian Harrison, out of the Midlothian area. Welcome back, Brian Harrison. All right. Generally speaking, I'm just going to assume you're against this. I mean, I am, and you and I are simpatico on a lot of issues here. Do we agree on this one? Well, see, my complaint has nothing to do with term limits. And, while generally speaking, most people think that you can be in office past your point of usefulness. But my big complaint against Greg Abbott isn't his time in office. It's his policies that he's pursued while in office. If he was doing everything the way you and I wanted to do, I'd be cheering for a fourth term. So I don't want people to think that I'm against him having a fourth term because it's a fourth term. I'm against him having a fourth term because we didn't get property taxes. We don't have school choice. He demonstrated he was not committed to liberty during the COVID shutdown. I still don't forgive him for all of that stuff. I have a long memory, Brian Harrison. Hollywood, right? All right, State Rep Brian Harrison, there's a lot of these projects that sound like they're coming straight out of the Al Gore playbook, and then they get signed on here. Like, it disgusts me that Texas is number one for wind power generation, because that's all subsidized. It's not like we naturally did that, or we're talented, or we found out some new efficiency. No, we've just squandered more tax dollars on wind power than any other state. And the other things, like what did they do a couple years ago? Like the rural broadband program, where we've got to spend billions of dollars. So some guy who lives out in the sticks can get more than 300 megabits per second. I'm like, that's not a priority. All right, dad joke warning here. From what Brian was describing, it sounds less like Texas and more like taxes. Am I right, guys? Huh? Am I right? All right. So if not, do we have time to do this? I only have 1 minute left. And the question is, if not Governor Abbott, who? I was expecting maybe you would say, well, hell, Parker, I'm running. You want to make an announcement here on the James Show, or is that? Yeah, probably after your friends in Houston. But thank you very much for your time on the James Show. I know. It's the state rep Brian Harrison out of Midlothian. Give us an assist. What do you think about Governor Abbott running for a fourth term? Would you support that? If not him, who? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'll give you my short list next on The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I say no to an Abbott fourth term. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker, and he announced it yesterday. Governor Abbott said he is running for a fourth term. This would be unprecedented. And for a lot of people, that this is just put on autopilot. Hey, who's our current governor? Is he on my team? Well, then he has my vote. And I've noticed a lot, whether it was Rick Perry or Greg Abbott, is a lot of people are upset that when it comes time to vote, it's either Greg Abbott or some Democrat that they like even less than Greg Abbott. Well, it's too late now. This problem has to be, if you don't like the current guy, this problem has to be solved in the primary system. And so in the primary elections, that's going to be the real election for governor. If you're not doing something about that, I don't want to hear it. But my problem with the Greg Abbott getting a fourth term isn't the fact that it's a fourth term. It's that it's Greg Abbott. It's not that I don't like the guy. He seems nice enough. I've interviewed him a couple times on the radio before. Granted, it's been a while. But the problem I have with Greg Abbott is his policies, how he's governed. Of course, he's not the worst. It could have gotten worse than Governor Greg Abbott. And of course, there's plenty of things that he did that I agree with. But I still remember how people performed during the COVID lockdowns. And I am not going to forget that for the rest of my life. I am never going to forgive the people who supported closing churches and schools and funerals and businesses and concerts and sporting events and just ruining lives over something that turned out to be completely unnecessary. Not just unnecessary. It didn't even help. The people that did social distancing, we've now done the research on it. We've done the studies. They didn't have any different outcomes than the people who didn't, or the people who turned it off before they did. Closing schools, churches, restaurants, all of it is statistically not even measurable in the post-analysis studies. So that's number one. But number two, there's so much stuff that's gone on under his watch that I disagree with that he should be speaking out against, but he speaks in favor of it. Like the subsidies that State Rep Brian Harrison had mentioned in the previous segment, $100 million to Hollywood. To what? Subsidize Hollywood? Hollywood kind of hates us. I don't like subsidizing any industry, much less one that hates us, much less one that's just dedicated to making me the bad guy in every movie. But I remember that. I remember all these other silly programs that get passed, like billions of your taxpayer dollars for rural broadband access. Like the thing that this state really needs is for some guy that's living out in the middle of nowhere to be able to download at more than 300 megabits per second. 300 megabits per second, this whole state's going to grind to a halt. Meanwhile, those are fantasy speeds compared to what we were dealing with 20 years ago. But no, it's all policy. I have no problem with the fourth term, actually. If this guy was governed the way I wanted to, I'd support a fourth term. So then I have to go ahead and address the next hard question. If not Abbott, who? I don't know. Who are some Texans that you think would govern better, that have some name recognition, that have maybe some political experience? Brian Harrison, the guy that was on the previous segment, we don't know him that well. He's only been around for a few years, but I think it'd be hard-pressed for him to be worse than Abbott. I like the idea of a non-politician like Joe Rogan, who's just chilling in Austin. He's already living down there. Maybe we could just slide him over. Democrats should be able to like that. He spent most of his life as a Democrat. Still a Bernie bro. That's a nice little compromise. Elon Musk probably doesn't want the job. It'd be a demotion for him. But in my next segment, my guest, Alan West. That's a solid maybe as well. 800-288-9227. This is Joe and Grapevine on WBAP. What do you think about a fourth Abbott term, Joe?
Well, James, first off, honor and pleasure as always. I have to disagree. I rarely disagree with you, James, but today is going to be one of them.
That's all right.
And I just think the reason is, in my opinion, James, is that, first off, look at everything the Democrats have been doing for years that we're finding out and digging up, at least with Governor Abbott, especially with everything that's been going on. I'm not going to go down the list. You're greater at doing that. We need to know who stands with us. We know he stands in our side in so many things. And I remember, James, and I don't think I'm wrong, and it was also in Casey during the morning, both of you have complained not just about Abbott, but about how he ran into a wall with the Republican leadership in our House and Senate in the Texas, not national, but Texas. And the leadership has not been in the direction a lot of us want to go. And Governor Abbott knows this, and he has to compromise and work with them. God knows the secret or behind the scenes phone calls that he gets in order to make these compromises to get done what he can get done. But James, look back on some of your very programs. You have complained about top leadership. Have you not?
Oh, of course. Look, just because there's other terrible politicians doesn't mean Greg Abbott's not one of them as well.
Well, and another thing I have a concern for, not having someone to put up there, kind of reminds me of Marjorie Taylor Greene when she wanted to vote out the Speaker of the House. And her and a couple of just the people could do it because they said if there was one or two things they disagree, they were going to have a vote. But the problem, and even Dan Bongino, that was on before you came on, even he was saying, well, who do you have to put up there? They had nobody. There was nothing in any ideas of her thinking. We can say Marjorie Taylor Greene, but yet if you're going to go ahead and go a direction, have somebody to put in there that we all can get behind. With Governor Abbott, man, I support him in so many things, but the opposition he's had to deal with, that's my concern about it. I still love you, James. Big time, buddy.
No, understandable. All right. Well, thanks for calling in and sharing. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, one of the guys that would be on my short list to answer his question. Well, if not him, who? Maybe an Alan West. Maybe a state rep Brian Harrison can step up to Governor Brian Harrison. But no, all those points were well taken, sir. Good call. But Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, we're going to ask him what he thinks about both the shutdown drama, because he used to be in the House of Representatives in D.C., and the idea of Abbott for a fourth term, because he's the former chair of the Republican Party in Texas. So Alan West next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. What do you think about an Abbott fourth term? I say no. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. But if you disagree, that's understandable. That's what we're talking about here. And the announcement was made yesterday. Governor Greg Abbott in Harris County in the Houston area making the call that he's running for a fourth term. It would be completely unprecedented. And a couple of questions are, number one, are you against it because it's a fourth term or because it's Governor Greg Abbott? And if not Governor Greg Abbott, then whom? Elizabeth and Electra, you're on WBAP.
Hey, so here's the thing, and in the end, it may or may not surprise you, but to start off with, in the aftermath of the shooting, the mass shooting at our church down around San Antonio, my kids and I had the great opportunity to actually meet Governor Greg Abbott in person. Got a picture of him with my kids. And so I look at it often and I wonder about who the real person is. He seemed very down to earth and very real when I got to meet him, just like anybody else. So I like that in a person, but I do, like you, I have questions. Where I live, we live kind of out in the sticks, and so we don't have internet where we're at. And so I'm not happy with that because I've been struggling as a single mom, especially these twins. And the easiest way that I could make that better is to get an internet job, and I don't have that opportunity because there's an obstacle, and it's because we have no internet where we're at. That's one thing. All this stuff that's come out with on the Epstein about Hollywood, I don't like the fact that we're inviting them here. Although that the ones that are coming here, I hope that they remember and vote differently than what they did back there. And I want them to be, I hope that they're conservative, and I hope that they're not pedophiles.
Okay, so Elizabeth, overall, Governor Greg Abbott for a fourth term, is that a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I actually don't know, but I am pro MAGA. Anybody who is truly endorsed by Trump, I would vote for. And I know that seems silly, but I think Trump overall has done a great job for our economy. He's fighting against others. There's a lot of stuff that's going down, and there's a lot of obstacles and a lot of people trying to prevent him from accomplishing his things. But still, Trump endorsed a candidate that's truly endorsed by him, I would vote for them.
All right, good stuff. Thank you for calling in. That's Elizabeth and Electra. All right, my next guest, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, coming back on the James Show. And let's just start with that. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, you're one of the big political names here in the state of Texas. Your reaction to Governor Greg Abbott saying he's running for a fourth term? Right, and because if it's only for the incentives, when the incentives run out, do they stay? And so that's a big question that comes up anytime this happens in any state. But the second biggest topic that we're talking about today, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, is the shutdown. And so there's been details of a compromise that are announced. It hasn't actually been voted and passed through the Senate yet. But what do you think about this shutdown situation finally ending? Well, I can see that. All right, we're talking with Lieutenant Colonel Alan West about what's going on with both Texas politics and the national politics. But let me switch gears here. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. WBAP is doing a special broadcast at the National Medal of Honor Museum in Arlington. And you, as a veteran, how important is this day to you? Very cool. All right. Thank you very much. This is Lieutenant Colonel Alan West on the James Show. Appreciate your time, sir. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Veterans Day special broadcast from WBAP coming up tomorrow. That's next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, football fans. James Parker here for the Prize Picks app, and you're going to need the Prize Picks app. It was a luxury until about this point in the season, and now if you're going to have any chance at enjoying the rest of the Dallas Cowboys season, you're going to need an assist from my buddies over at Prize Picks. Now, there's a game going on tonight. I'm in on the action. You want to get in on the action? All you do is make a lineup of 2 to 6 players. Here's what I did. Jalen Hurts, one of his statistics is 1.5 passing touchdowns. I'm feeling a little froggy. I picked more. And then Jordan Love, quarterback for Green Bay, 1.5 passing touchdowns. You know what? Still feeling froggy. Still jumped. So I picked more on both of those. And if we have a little bit of a shootout tonight, I'm going to turn $50 into $175. You hear that? That's how easy it is. Now, if you go make a lineup of 6 players and it's tough picks, you can get up to 2,000 times your money with Prize Picks. And if you're new to the app, you can get a little bit of bonus to start with. Download Prize Picks, use promo code WBAP, and that'll get you $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. So you know how I just played a $50 lineup? You can take that, turn it into $175 with my picks. Download the Prize Picks app, use promo code WBAP, get that $50 with your first $5 lineup, and then turn a little bit of money into a little bit more money and add some spice to the sports you're already loving. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Hey, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM, WBAP. Our top story of the day is the shutdown compromise, but right behind it is we're having a special broadcast tomorrow in honor of Veterans Day, WBAP. We don't get out of the house very often, you know. We're the kind of like the old people getting our little comfortable chair. I'm in my lazy boy right here. I've got my remote control. I've got my dog at my feet. No, we're actually getting out of the house for Veterans Day, and it's an amazing event. It's for the Medal of Honor Museum that just opened up in Arlington. It's that building that's on stilts when you're on 30 and you're going past the stadiums, you know, Six Flags on your left, Wet n Wild on the right. That new building that's on stilts, that's the Medal of Honor Museum. Now, I haven't actually been in there yet, but Casey's going to be broadcasting live from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, the morning show is going to be there, and you can have a meet and greet with them. But I'm told that there is a tour that's going to happen around 11-ish, so you may want to get there a little early, like 10:30 or so, catch the end of Casey. And I think the morning show is going to be taken on a tour, and if you want to go on the tour with the morning show, I am told that is something, because they were saying, James, you may want to get there by 11 so you can do the tour with the morning show. And I'm like, just us in the morning show? No. Other people will be on the tour too. So if you want to be a part of that, you want to be there before 11 is what I'm told. So I'll be doing my broadcast live there from 2 to 5 after that. And then probably number 3 on the list of the top 3 stories you need to know about today is Governor Greg Abbott announced he's going to be running for a 4th term. And I don't like the sound of that, not because it's the 4th term, because it's Greg Abbott. 800-288-9227. This is Jackie in Denison. You're on WBAP.
Hello. I'm not going to vote for Abbott again. I like that Brian Williamson. I'd like to see them have a debate.
Harrison.
I've never heard Abbott even respond to any of the things he's saying. And I do know that I paid my house off 20 years ago, and between my taxes and my insurance, it's more than my house payment used to be.
It's a crime.
So I can't own my property. I rent it from the government. You know, and I can't see that any of them have done any good. We've got John Cornyn. He needs to go.
All right, Jackie.
These old people, they need to go.
Now, you don't have your own radio show where you can talk to like 100,000 people in North Texas. Not that I'm bragging. I'm just saying you're one person. But you need to tell everybody in your orbit that story, because I find it real hard for even the densest person to not see how not just illogical but immoral the property tax system is. Do we do that for any other property that we have? Like I had to pay the sales tax when I bought this laptop. Do I have to come back next year and pay the sales tax again? Do I have to come back and pay sales taxes every year after I bought a car, or sales taxes every year after I get a phone or a number 2 pencil? So it's
yeah. And you just can't ever own your property. And we're a veteran. My husband put 20 years in. We paid our house off. We thought we worked hard, made double, triple payments so we could get it done. And we're right back where we started. You know, it just doesn't make any sense when your insurance and your taxes are higher than your payment was 20 years ago.
Okay, now this does make sense to a couple of people. It makes sense to the people who have so much money they don't care. It also makes sense to the people who are not successful enough to even be in the property ownership game. And I'm not like trying to denigrate them for not owning property, but you know, there's a lot of people out there who live in apartments. There's a lot of people out there who are renting. There's a lot of people who live in a house that, you know, their parents left them, or they're living in like their aunt's basement or something. There's a whole lot of people who just aren't affected by property taxes. They don't care if they double or triple over the last 5 years. It doesn't affect them one whit. So I don't expect them to get it. But for all the people out there who are paying property taxes, you can't tell me your life would be better off if you got to keep that money instead of sending it to Austin.
You're right. You're 100% right. And there are other issues like these lithium battery storage plants that are coming in. They're not being regulated. We've got them next to schools. We're scared to death. We got volunteer fire departments that don't even know how to fight the fires. And I've not heard one word from any elected politician, none of them. They're just sitting back watching it happen. And there are going to be people hurt by this. And I don't understand. Where's our representation?
Well, Jackie, the one thing that this man has going for him is the next question is, if not Greg Abbott, who? Who has the name recognition? Who has the momentum to even challenge him?
Well, if that young man that keeps talking, I've been listening to him on Facebook and been listening to him when he comes on the news shows and stuff. If he will just run, we'll help.
You're talking about Brian Harrison again?
Yes,
All
I'm
right.
tired of the same people.
Look,
And he at
you're
least
familiar
is
with him
willing
because
to
of this
discuss
show.
it.
I'm familiar with him because of this show. But most of North Texas doesn't listen to this show, and almost none of the people in Texas outside of North Texas listen to this show. So he does not have name recognition. Just because we know his name, he doesn't have a big enough name. No one in Houston really knows this guy. No one over in Amarillo or El Paso or San Antonio or maybe even Austin know this guy. He's got a long ways to go. I would like for him to do it.
I'm telling all my friends about him. I tell everybody, hey, at least give him a chance
Good.
to know what we're going to get with Abbott.
Well, good. You know what? Don't discount that. I can tell 100,000 people, but if 100,000 people tell 2 people, then you have double the power of the James Show. So do what you can with your influence. Tell them about the property taxes. Tell them about Brian Harrison or anyone else that wants to run. I mean, like Alan
That's
West.
why we got Trump in office. Everybody started saying we're sick of this crap, and we sent Trump because there was no one else.
And that's the lesson. Trump got in office because we all knew his name. We all knew who he was. He didn't have to go out and do a whole bunch of extra work. But great call. That's Jackie and Denison. Coming up next on The James Show, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions happened over the weekend. We'll talk about it with the drummer for the Toadies, local rock star himself, Mark Resnicek, will be on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So we have a new class in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Let's see what we think about that. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. And here to give us an assist is local rock star Mark Resnicek, the drummer for the Toadies. And welcome back to the James Show, Mark. All right, let's roll through the artists who got inducted over the weekend here. Just to set the stage, artists become eligible for the Hall 25 years after their first music release. And number one, Outkast. Do they deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Rez, go. Well, I think a lot of people are a lot easier with Outkast being in there because there's quite a few of their songs where they actually, play instruments. And when they do live shows, they often, not always, but often have a full band that's actually playing music live on the spots. So they're a little more rock than a lot of people expect if you're not familiar with their work. I think the next one, Bad Company, that's a shoe-in. Anyone have any arguments with that? No. All right. Cyndi Lauper was the next one. This one's kind of like a maybe for me because she did have some big songs, but Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Time After Time, True Colors, and then Nothing. So, I mean, was that all on the same album? Well, yeah, it's not that we don't like her. It's just this comes up every time we have the discussion. Is really one good album, is that enough to catapult someone into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? So that argument will never go away. Soundgarden, first off, I didn't know they had formed in 1984. I don't think I was familiar with them for like 10 years after that. But yeah, they seem to be someone that was destined for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame long ago. All right. Now the next one is another one of those questionable ones. Salt and Pepper. Are they rock? Not really. Well, do they kind of have some rocky songs? Do they play with a live band? Do they have any rock elements? Not really. Yeah. Rock adjacent, we will take. And doesn't the Spinderella live around here? Isn't she like a Dallas resident or from here or something to that effect? Their DJ? Yeah, I remember I saw her at an event and I didn't know she was local, or I was under the impression she was local. Now, the next one falls under the previous questionable criterion. And if you're just joining us, this is Mark Resnicek, drummer for the Toadies. We're going through the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction list from over the weekend. Chubby Checkers. Now, this is a guy who really did just have one song. He had The Twist, and if you want to be generous, he had Let's Twist Again. But this is the question. Definitely rock and roll, definitely a hit. But does one album, is that enough to catapult you into the Hall of Fame? This is really pushing it in my view. Well, we don't want to upset the giant Chubby Checker fan base out there. I'm sure they're absolutely rabid. The next one, Joe Cocker. He's an English singer who we probably, if you don't recognize the name, you'll recognize a few of his songs. But he seems like the previous generation's Bryan Adams. Wow, number one for a while there. That's cool. That kind of makes you wonder why he didn't get in sooner. Okay, the next one, the White Stripes. Of course, I think they deserve to be in there. They're definitely rock. They've definitely had long, sustained success. They're definitely big enough. It just makes me feel old because I feel like they're a current band, and apparently they're at least 25 years old. So I guess I'm a geezer now. Warren Zevon. He is in. He passed away in 2003, so this is kind of a little late for him to enjoy. But does he deserve to be in there? I don't know. I'm not going to criticize a guy who's no longer with us. Carol Kay, I've never heard of her, but she's being inducted as an American session musician. Do you even know her name? Good Vibrations. These boots are made for walking, and Barbra Streisand's The Way We Were. Wow, that's a hell of a resume. We have another producer and songwriter named Tom Bell, and Nikki Hopkins, another session musician, and then another producer and executive, Lenny Waronker. I've never heard of those people, so we'll just let that one slide. You guys got some shows coming up, the Toadies? And opening for the Toadies is Jarrett Lee Reddick, which when he includes his middle name, I guess he's doing his country stuff. All right, fun stuff. Mark Resincheck from the Toadies. I appreciate your assist, sir. Thank you. All right, that's Mark Resincheck from the Toadies running down the Rock and Roll Hall of Fames. If you have any strong opinions about that, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, Donald Trump went to an NFL game yesterday. You'll find out how it went on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Welcome back to the big show. Donald Trump went to an NFL game last night, and going to an NFL game is kind of a big deal for you and me. It's an even bigger deal for a president. We haven't had a president be at a regular season NFL game since Jimmy Carter. I thought this was America. All right, that I didn't know that would bother me so much. But I wasn't watching the game yesterday because it was the sorry Redskins, and I don't care about them at all. So I went back and I gathered a few clips for you. And here's the ones that you're going to think are interesting. So there was like an oath swearing in ceremony at halftime for some military recruits. I thought he was doing the swearing in ceremony for some new naturalized citizens, which would have been really cool. But this was being passed around. In fact, I think this was the first soundbite I saw from it because a bunch of the lefty accounts I follow on social media were passing this around. Look at how much this guy's getting booed. Look at him. Everybody hates him. Orange man bad. All right, I'll let you hear it yourself here. But this is, I mean, there's quite a few boos. All right, so apparently people in D.C. have strong opinions on politics. Who would have thought, huh? But listen, if you're getting booed by the crowd in D.C., you're probably on the right side. Have you seen the Hunger Games? Have you seen? I know it's not like a documentary or anything, but the same kind of system sort of applies. There is this far off, distant capital where the people who dwell in the capital and run everything and receive all the tax revenue and decides who gets what, and they have power over everything, from the laws to the spending to the programs. They live a life of luxury and ease that is unknown to the regular citizen out in flyover country, which is you and me. Do these people not realize that you're the capital? You're the ones, you're the elite, you're the effeminate elite that are in charge. They're making fun of you. You're not the good guys. People who live high off the hog in the Capitol. In the George Orwell book, Animal Farm, you're the pigs. In the George Orwell book, 1984, you're the inner party. Which those aren't scary books. If, like, you and I think Animal Farm's a scary book on how things could really go wrong if we institute the wrong system of governance. It's not a scary story if you're one of the pigs. So you had some of that. Let me play a couple other sound bites. This was Trump talking to some of the two guys in the broadcast booth during the game.
Respects to combat, war, etc., and you kind of take some of the same strategies. Would love to hear your thoughts about where we are as a nation, how we're doing.
Well, we're doing great, and recruitment is doing phenomenally. People have spirit. Our stock market hit an all-time high. Prices are coming down. We inherited a mess. Prices are coming way down. And I'll tell you, our country has over $17 trillion being invested in it, which is a record. So we're doing great.
So that seemed kind of normal. And then there was another little piece of drama, intrigue, if you will, when Amon-Ra St. Brown, the receiver, got a touchdown, did a dance in the end zone, and it was the Trump dance. You know, the thing where he moves his two fists back and forth in opposite timing. So that you can't see it, but just know you'll hear the call. He gets the touchdown. He starts doing the dance. And then another teammate next to him starts doing the dance with him. And the crowd seems to like it.
Goff on the slant to St. Brown. He is in for a Lions touchdown.
Yeah, and there's the dance. Yeah, see, that seemed to go over pretty well. So that was Trump at the game yesterday. Little bit of a mixed bag, wasn't it? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Dude, if I was president, I'd be going to like every third Cowboys game. I'd be like, what is it, an away game? Where is it? Tampa Bay? Going. It's a nice stadium. That's nice weather. Let's go. I'd be abusing that privilege. Coming up next on The James Show, Victoria Churchill from the Daily Mail is going to be commenting on the three big stories of the day. Number one, the shutdown compromise that may be happening this week. Number two, Greg Abbott's running for a fourth term. And then number three, Donald Trump, the NFL, and the reaction to that. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. We have a shutdown compromise. Or do we? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Giving me an assist, Victoria Churchill coming back on from the Daily Mail. Victoria, so this shutdown compromise, I have some strong opinions on it here. Number one, it seems like the Republicans got everything that they were asking for. Not that means it's a big win for the Republicans, but that means this whole 40-day fiasco seemed to just be centered around the election and not any real principles in the bill itself. Very much so, yes. Well, Victoria Churchill, they don't seem to be in that big of a hurry to get this thing through. On one hand, it's the most important emergency thing we have going on in D.C. right now. On the other hand, it's like, yeah, we'll do the 3 votes tomorrow. And then after all the votes come, then Mike Johnson will call in the House. It'll give them 36 hours to assemble instead of just calling them right now. Hey, you got 36 hours to be here. Looks like this bill's about to pass. It's almost like they're dragging their feet. Is that what you see? Oh, God. I hadn't heard of that Anna Paulina Luna situation. They're going to outlaw insider trading. It's already illegal, Victoria. What are they going to do? Make it illegaler? Uh, th- all right. Well, whatever helps her be happy. This is Victoria Churchill from the Daily Mail. Down here in Texas, we're going to have what seems to be a microcosm of what a lot of Republican parties at the state level are facing. Our incumbent Governor Greg Abbott just announced yesterday that he's going to run for a 4th term. And this is so frustrating because, he is one of the least conservative Republicans in Texas. And he keeps getting reelected, and the only way to get him out is the primary. And you know how hard it is to get people mobilized and energized into the polls for an off-year primary election. And, I see other states having to go through this, other jurisdictions, other congressional districts having to just be stuck with the rhino that they got. I think a good example would be Mitch McConnell in Kentucky. No one's in love with Mitch McConnell in Kentucky, but once he gets through the primaries, it's a done deal. So that's one of the things we're facing here. How tired are you of seeing this situation? That's such a graceful term, the low propensity voters, not the unreliable voters or the lazy voters or the people who forget to vote or are too apathetic to even know what the hell's going on. The low propensity voter. Good work there. Well, and I thought that was something special he did because he managed to motivate people sort of in an affirmative direction, whereas most of the motivation you see of people try to get others to the polls is scaring the crap out of them. He's a Nazi, he's a sexist, racist, bigot, homophobe. They're going to take away your food. They're going to take away your health care. There's going to be starving children. And he was like, hey, I'm a cool guy. You know me from TV. You know me from all the other media appearances I've done, WWE, Home Alone. This is what I want to do, make America great again. And that got people motivated. And it was very positive and something that I haven't seen repeated a lot in the American electoral process in our lifetime. All right, that's Victoria Churchill. You can catch her stuff at the Daily Mail. I appreciate your help and your time on the show today, Victoria. Coming up next, we're playing Dead or Alive. Today's gift, a $50 gift card to Eatsy's Market and Bakery. And so you didn't have to have your SNAP benefits cut out. You could use $50 to Eatsy's anytime. If you want to try and win, all you got to do is guess on 10 celebrities, air quote, celebrities, on whether or not they're dead or alive. Call in right now, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Dead or Alive next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, you're just in time for Dead or Alive. Welcome to the James Show on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. On today's episode of Dead or Alive, we're playing for a $50 gift card to Eatsies. More after the intro, Mr. Jovi. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Jovi. Welcome to Dead or Alive. This is the game show where I'm going to give you 10 celebrities, and you have to tell me if they're dead or alive. I know, it sounds like a 50-50 proposition. It is, just 10 times in a row. So do the math on that one. Today, $50 gift card to Eatsies Market and Bakery. You can discover Eatsies, a European-style market and bakery offering chef-crafted meals, daily specials, fresh bread, pastries, and more. And they also make this chocolate chip cookie cake where I think they like stack the cookies with layers of stuff between them. And it actually defeated me. I got a piece that I thought I could eat and I couldn't finish it. And that's saying a lot because I am an absolute pig. Don't bother calling in. Phone lines are full. What is this, all men? When does that happen on this show? All right, well, sausage party on Dead or Alive. This is Jeff in Fort Worth. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, your clue here. Today's category, Jeff in Fort Worth, is Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They just had their induction ceremony over the weekend, and everyone on this list was on the list for this weekend. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, number one, Chubby Checker, dead or alive?
He's dead.
Sir, no, he's alive. 84 years old.
Oh,
I know.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't even make it first one. Good work, Jeff. Try again some other time. Jerry in Dallas, you're on Dead or Alive. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, number two, Jack White, lead singer of the White Stripes, dead or alive?
Alive.
Warren Zevon, dead or alive?
Dead.
Joe Cocker, dead or alive?
Dead.
Chris Cornell, lead singer of Soundgarden, dead or alive?
Alive.
No, he committed suicide a few years ago. Yeah, sorry, Jerry. You did well, sir.
Okay.
Next up, Christian and McKinney. Hey, Christian, you ready for Dead or Alive?
I am.
All right, we're at the halfway point here. Cyndi Lauper, dead or alive?
Alive.
Yeah, she actually performed at the ceremony this weekend. Paul Rodger from Bad Company, dead or alive?
Dead.
No, 75 years old, sir. Sorry about that. Appreciate you playing, Christian. We're moving on to Doug in Ennis. Hey, Doug, how's it going down in Ennis?
Doing okay.
All right, well, we've got 3 people left on today's Dead or Alive for the $50 gift card to Eatsies. You ready?
Let's go.
Her real name is Cheryl James. Her stage name is Salt. Her band, Salt and Peppa, they just got inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend. Is Salt dead or alive?
Alive.
59 years old. Carol Kay played bass and sometimes guitar with the Wrecking Crew. Is she dead or alive?
Dead.
Nope. 90 years old. I can see why you would say that, but she is still with us, Doug. Thank you for playing, sir. So finally we go down to Mark and Alan, and since this is the last person, we're going to get a winner or not just on one question. You ready, Mark and Alan?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, his name is Nicky Hopkins. He just got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for being a piano session musician for the Rolling Stones, the Kink, the Who, and a bunch of other people you've heard of. But Nicky Hopkins, is he dead or alive?
I'm going to go with dead.
There you go. That's all it took. Mark, Allen, congratulations, sir. You are the big winner on today's episode of Dead or Alive. You're going to get a $50 gift card to Eatsies Market and Bakery. Discover Eatsies, a European-style market and bakery offering chef-crafted meals, daily specials, fresh bread, pastries, and more. And I highly recommend their cookie cakes. Thank you very much, Mark and Allen. You did a great job there. You only had to answer one, and you didn't screw it up. So I want to put you on hold. Garrett will get you info. We'll mail it to you, all right?
All righty. Thank you.
All right, now let's talk about Eatsies making me hungry. For the rest of you, if you haven't checked out Eatsies, there's 3 locations in Dallas that I know of. I don't know if it's everywhere, but it's pretty good. They end up doing a lot of our events. So we get a lot of catering from them here at Cumulus. And I'm a big fan of their work, that's for sure. Coming up next on The James Show, Eminem says you're brainwashed. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, homeowners. James Parker here for Rhino Shield. And listen, if you are in any position where you're thinking about painting your house, I swear to God, you better not. If I find out you painted your house without calling Rhino Shield first, I'm going to be very upset. I might even, I don't know, sneak a bunch of Tylenol in your food or something. Jokes aside, it's just better than paint. I'm not doing this, to try and guilt you into supporting my sponsor, as I am trying to prevent you from using an old technology that we've moved past 20 years ago. Look, if it's in the inside of your house, whatever. But for the outside of your house, you should not skimp. You deserve Rhino Shield. Look, it'll help you with your energy costs. It has an insulating factor. I don't know what an R factor is, but it's a 6.9 R factor. No kids, not 6, 7. So don't even it blocks 90% of UV rays. It's water resistant. It's 8 to 10 times thicker than paint, but it won't change your surface texture. You'll still get that pretty wood grain or the brick texture or the stucco or whatever it's on. It'll still look great. The color will last longer than paint. And you're going to come back in 5, 10 years or so, and you're not going to see any cracking, no flaking, no peeling. You know how I know? Because we've been doing this for 25 years and it hadn't happened yet. So you get a 25-year transferable warranty that will actually not just beautify your home, but make it more valuable. So don't paint your house, coat your home, shield your home. I'm not asking you to go spend hundreds of bucks on getting a Rhino Shield. I'm asking you to give them a call and have Gary come out, give you an estimate, and show you the technology and how it works. And that doesn't cost you anything. So make the first move. Go to rhinoshielddfw.com. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Now, my next guest is going to be Monty from the morning show. The WBAP morning show. I know, get excited real quick. But I want to get his reaction, not just to talk about the event that's happening tomorrow, but there's a soundbite here where Eminem calls us all brainwashed, calls you brainwashed. And I want to start my segment with Monty getting his reaction to this Eminem clip.
How in the do you feel like you relate to a billionaire who has never known struggle his entire life, watching him play to his base that thinks that he cares about them, and it's actually the people that he cares about the least? I will say this, he talks a good one. And if you're in his base, you're a core, let's say you're going to the rallies or whatever, you watch him on TV, you hear him talking this shit, there's part of me that understands, like, all right, he's somehow still got them because he's brainwashing them into thinking that something great is going to happen. Nothing's happening. Nothing is happening.
Yeah, nothing's happening. I don't know, Monty. I kind of like the idea that the border could be closed just from the president giving a rip. So, yeah, I mean, there are some things happening. Your reaction to being called brainwashed by Eminem? Yeah, I'm changing my votes now. From here on out, I'm going to vote however Eminem tells me. Yeah, well, I am very interested in these people's explanation on if you think Donald Trump is literally Hitler and fascist and a threat to democracy, how do you explain half the country supporting him? Are we all just stupid? No. The answer for him is we're brainwashed. So, okay. It could be a lot worse. It's better than being called literally Hitler, so. All right, now let's talk about this event that's happening tomorrow, because this sounds really cool. And I hope, Monty, this starts to be an annual tradition where WBAP, like WeatherCon just turned into something we do every year. I think this should turn into a yearly event. So there's a tour that's supposed to happen. I was told that the morning show, y'all are going to come out there after you do your morning show. Casey will be broadcasting live, but at 11, there's going to be, is someone like a professionally leading us on the tour? Or are we just going to kind of mosey around and take a self-directed lap? Or is there an actual event going on? I seem to be unclear on what's happening at around 11. I have not. No. I've been wanting to go. I remember seeing the thing being built, and that we have this giant building on stilts. What's that going to be? Medal of Honor Museum. I was like, oh my goodness. Then every exhibit in there probably has an amazing story behind it. So, all right. So you guys are going to be out there from 11 to 2. Casey's broadcasting from 9 to 11. I'll be broadcasting from 2 to 5. Then we wrap it up from there and go home. Is everyone from the morning show going to be there from 11 to 2? We'll let Brad out of his kennel if the weather's looking good. All right. So for the people who are on the fence about going, what do you tell them? And look, the morning show is going to be out there. Casey Bartholomew is going to be out there. I'll be out there. You should come anyway. See what I did there? All right. So, Monty, I appreciate your time on the James Show, and I look forward to hanging out with you tomorrow at the Medal of Honor Museum. All right. What I hope becomes an annual event, the Veterans Day Spectacular from WBAP. In fact, I don't think there has been an event I've been at, because I've been here for a couple of years now, where we had the live broadcast, both me and Casey doing a live broadcast. This is a first for us. So it's going to be a big day tomorrow. If you don't have to work, or if you can sneak out of work, or just give us maybe your lunch break, come on out, say hi. I always love meeting you. You can come see us, judge us based on our appearance, maybe take a selfie and judge our appearance accordingly. All right, that's going to just about do it for the James Show. But coming up, we have Sting. Sting's going to be at the Pavilion at Toyota Music Factory on May 10th for his Sting 3.0 tour. You can get information at livenation.com and listen to the WBAP Morning Show all week this week to find out how you can win tickets. They have a few pairs that they're going to be giving away on our morning show from now through Friday. And if you have any questions about the special on Veterans Day at the Medal of Honor Museum in Arlington tomorrow, more of your answers can be found if you go to WBAP.com, or we had a bunch of stuff on the WBAP Facebook page as well. Thank you very much for hanging out today. That's going to do it for the James Show. Stick around. Coming up next, the great one, Mark Levin. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.